Acolytes versus the New Age Outlaws. It's interesting because the first spot of the match, Farouk throws Billy Gunn into the ropes. The ropes bust. The top rope busts, and Billy Gunn immediately falls just as a natural reaction. And Farouk, being the pro, what do you do when a guy falls? You go for a pinfall right away. Like he didn't even flinch. Then they kind of like didn't know what to do, so they just redid the spot, and Billy Gunn gingerly hits the ropes, but then hits an incredible standing dropkick. And eventually the top turnbuckle completely comes down, and they only have 2 ropes to work with, and it's a bit of a mess.
It's an incredible mess. But
they make it. They somehow get to the finish. The finish is the Fink throws a chair into the ring and then goes on the other side to try to distract the ref, but then the Outlaws get the chair and use it on Farouk. I use it on Bradshaw. I'm sorry. And so Fink causes the Acolytes to lose.
Right.
Now, what do you remember backstage watching this whole thing fall apart?
Well, that it was spectacular, and there was never a sense of like, those guys are all so fucking good, right? And it's like fucking Ron Simmons and Billy Gunn, dear Lord, So there never was a sense of like, oh God, this is going bad. Oh boy, it was like, holy smokes. Oh, the ring busted, which is always exciting. And it's real. And then Billy Gunn gets gashed the hard way. That's all real. He's bleeding, right? I mean, it's like, whoa. In fact, something very interesting happened on the way out of that, because he's bleeding. And Vince always said, someone's really injured or bleeding or something, get a camera in on him and get something, just to have. So he, after, and they're all kind of on a high, and everyone's very appreciative when they come out like, holy smokes, you pulled that off when the ring busted. It's not like, oh, it's a fuck up. It was more like, whoa, you guys are great. That's something. Well, and they came out of it kind of like always like, oh, incredible. We made it like, because it was a seamless looking match. None of that broken ring made the match clunky. If anything, you could argue it became a much more, if that match would have gone exactly how it should have, we probably wouldn't be talking about it with this much reverence. So when they came off, I remember, there's always like, not a medical team, but there's a medic and something. And he's like, so Billy Gunn's off there like bleeding, and, and as he's like, oh, wow, you're all right. And all this, that, and the other. And the one trainer's back there. And I was kind of like, get a camera crew. Okay, we get a camera crew. And I was still kind of, I was new. So I haven't like specifically absolutely met everyone, or I've met them. I haven't like, had that many conversations. This Billy Gunn, who's intimidating too. I was like, we should get a camera in on there. And he's like, and he kind of looked at me all bloody. And I was like, oh boy, this might be like, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I remember like, well, Vince said always like, get a camera on someone if there's injury or something, because it could lead into the smart thing I said was like, could lead into more heat and something in the future that's which always means like, oh, more airtime, more. So he's like, but I remember he's like, and then true Billy Gunn fashion, he was with the trainer like, get out of here. Like he immediately turns on him like, get the fuck out of here. What do you like? Don't wipe the blood yet. Let the blood sit a little. So, and I never knew what happened to that footage, and nothing came out of it. But he was just like,
well, there was a segment during the tag title match where he's getting stitched up watching the match.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that was from that.
Happening.
There you go.
Yeah.
There was, I guess, there was some verbiage or some other stuff that said like, how about you say this or that? And it was like clunky, whatever, but we got it. So nonetheless, that was like, always a decree of Vince saying, remember, if you got a leg going the wrong way, get it on tape. Like, or